Welcome back to another look. On 30th of May, one Eric McGriff posted on Instagram and said, "Boys, stop talking about their emotions around 14 or 15 years old. That's the same age boys start to commit suicide at 5 times the rate of girls. This rejection of emotions is one of the reasons men are more addicted to drugs and alcohol and commit about 90% of all violent crime. You are human. Your emotions are human emotions." On 19th of June, comedian Eric Omondi posted a picture of his brother, Joseph Onyango Omondi, and said that his brother had passed away that morning, barely 12 hours after Eric had found him in downtown Nairobi. He said that his brother had been addicted to cocaine and other substances, and he had been in and out of rehabilitation for the past 19 years. On 20th of June, the next day, a young man by the name of Gerald Mwangi posted on Facebook and said, "I think my time in this world is over. I have been through enough, but I'm done." It is reported that hours later, he was found having hanged himself. On 25th of June, the Daily Nation reported that there was alarm as hundreds end their lives in Nyahururu. According to police, more than 250 people have committed suicide since June 2016 in Nyahururu town and its environs in Nyandarua County. The majority of the cases are among male adults. Figures from the 2009 census say that Nyandarua County had a population of 596,000 people. If we increase that population for now, we can estimate maybe there are 700,000 people. Now, 250 suicides out of a population of 700,000, if we project it for 42 million Kenyans, that's the equivalent of having 15,000 people committing suicide in 2 years. And that is suicides only, not counting the other causes of death in the country. 15,000 males committing suicide. Imagine if that was the rate of suicide in Kenya. So 250 people in Nyandarua is a very high number. And most of these people, according to the police, are male adults. What is it that is causing men to turn to drugs, to turn to alcohol, to turn to suicide? I am not an expert, but in my opinion, there are two problems. Number one is that men are brought up, or society expects that a man should be in charge of the situation. Whatever the issue is, a man should take control of it. A man should be tough. A man should be strong. A man should be macho. A man should put on his big boy pants. A man should have his problems under control. A man should be in charge. Sometimes, yes, that is true. A man should be in charge of various things. But sometimes we don't succeed very well in that, in some cases. Therefore, if a man asks for help, if a man says he has a certain problem and he asks for help, he is likely to receive a variation of those kind of responses. He'll be told to toughen up, to man up, rather than receiving practical help to solve whatever problem he is facing. He may indeed, men do receive help sometimes, but even sometimes this help may come with such underlying messages that you should toughen up, be strong, put on your big boy pants, don't be a wimp. We don't necessarily always receive the help we need. In other words, the man is being indirectly accused of failure because of facing problems. Which brings us to the second problem. Because of this situation where a man is taught that he should be in charge of things and not be seeking help, men are generally reluctant to seek help. Partly, I think it's in our nature. We don't easily seek help unless we're really stuck. But even now, when we are really stuck, we keep in mind that by seeking help, you'll be perceived as a failure. And of course, a man does not want to be perceived as a failure. People don't want to be perceived as failures. Women, on the other hand, are very free and willing to talk about their problems with their girlfriends, with their sisters, their mothers. So men do not want to be perceived as failures. So they are reluctant to share their problems. Sometimes these problems overwhelm the men, and that's why we're having the reports like this one of all these suicides and people turning to addiction and people turning to violent crimes, people ending their own lives. If you know a man who is facing a problem, or if a man approaches you and says they're facing a certain problem, if you can, help them. Don't tell them to man up. Don't tell them to be a big boy. Don't tell them that they're a wimp. Help them if you can. Indeed, maybe they will need to man up, but be gentle with them. Tell them in a gentle manner without putting them down. And since there's a likelihood that the man may not approach you and say that they have a problem, if you suspect that there's a man who is facing certain problems, if you can, depending on your relationship with them, if you can, you just talk to them and find out, how are you doing? That may be all that the man needs, to have someone listening to them, to give them a listening ear without accusing them or calling them a failure. Now, after I had recorded this video, I came across a post on Facebook that is related. Now, the background is two media personalities here in Kenya, Dennis Okari and Betty Kialo, had gotten married in a, sort of much publicized wedding. After a short while, they split. And then after quite a while, Dennis Okari said that he had contemplated suicide following his split from Betty. So someone wrote on Facebook and said, I have read Dennis Okari's story about trying to commit suicide twice, and I feel very annoyed with him. What a sissy. Kisii men are known to be macho and strong. Huyu alitoka wapi? Where did he come from? You do not commit suicide because of being left by a woman, and secondly, marry a woman below your pay grade, and so on and so forth. So this person's reaction to hearing that Dennis Okari had tried to commit suicide, Dennis Okari's revelation that he had tried to commit suicide, is to call him a sissy and to say that he's supposed to be macho and strong. This illustrates what I was saying earlier, that men are brought up, or society tells men that they're supposed to be macho and strong. And if you show any sign of weakness, or if you indicate that you're being overwhelmed, or you might be overwhelmed by the troubles you're facing, then you're a sissy, you're a wimp, you're not being man enough. Is it any wonder then that men turn instead to alcohol, men turn to drugs and other forms of addiction, that men contemplate suicide? Let's be gentle with our men. Thank you for watching.